A minute ago, Tom, you mentioned the opening of that original Action Comics and said that the first few words sounded rather strange. I think that we've become so accustomed to thinking of Superman flying that many people forget that he didn't learn to fly right away.
Actually, Siegel and Schuster drew their Man of Steel to leap about 1/8 of a mile, but the form looked as though Superman was indeed in flight.
Hurdle a tall building?
In a single bound. But that came later. And if you really listen carefully to the opening of our TV show, it never really describes Superman as flying. It just says, it's a bird, it's a plane, no.
No, it's another Thol Simonson special effect. And Thol will be joining us in just a little bit to actually show us some of Superman's secret power.
Like flying through the air. Let me tell you a story about an early episode of the TV series. We were shooting one called The Ghost Wolf in 1951 at the old RKO Pathé Studios.
That was the first year, wasn't it?
The very first year of the show. And we had very lavish sets because Howard Hughes owned the studio at that time, and he'd done Androcles and the Lion. There was a huge forest set. Jimmy was trapped somewhere in the forest. It was on fire, and they flew George in. They were at that time attempting to fly him on wires. This was the end of that, because they strung up this wire from the top of the sound stage. George came down, there were flames, I was trapped, and the wire broke.
Oh, boy.
And George fell on his super behind and let loose super utterances that the children of America would never be permitted to hear.
And that probably put out the fire, too.
No, the fire raged. I remember everybody was so shocked looking at, there he is on the ground, and George was wiping himself off and saying, that's enough of that. And I remember him saying that Peter Pan flies, but Superman doesn't fly, and that way. He was very acrobatic, you know, and was able to do all of his own stunts. He'd do wonderful curl-unders over camera. He'd leap over camera with a diving board in the floor that Thol Simonson arranged for him. But after that, he would never fly on a wire.
Tell me something. Out of 104 shows, about how many times do you think you were rescued?
Oh, 104.
No, more.
Sometimes twice in one episode.
Twice in the show. It depended how up the creek they were.
You mentioned earlier that George did a lot of his own stunts, aside from the apparatus. He did all. Did you guys do your own stunts, too?
Sure. We flew in one show, in the last show, as a matter of fact.
I did all my own stunts. As a matter of fact, I was saying, I trusted Cy. You call him Thor, Cy. I know him as knowing him as Thol Simonson. I trusted Cy so much with special effects that I later got into very bad habits. I'd do anything he set up for me to do. I mean, explosives would go off in my face, gases would go, fire hydrants would shoot, anything would happen.
And you were assured by him that it would be just...
I have hung from buildings with villains pounding on my hands, and I've done everything. It alleviates the boredom, you know, to do your own stunts. But later, when I was doing other things, and I'd worked with other stuntmen or special effects men, I realized that I trusted Cy so much, I'd just do anything, and it was a mistake because the things didn't go right as they did with Cy.
It's the masked Marvel.
Who is this masked man, and how does he fit into Superman's life? We're going to find out in just a minute.